The following program contains shocking amounts of wit. If you suffer from dim-wittedness, this show might not be right for you. Check with your mortician.
Well, Pope Francis stirring up a hornet's nest, offering salvation to atheists. That's a crime against Christianity, isn't it? And also tell them that they can do good. Maybe like that Good Samaritan, I don't know. Anyway, a big shot in the Muslim Brotherhood, one of their theologians, has invited Sunni Muslims from all over the world to take a jihad vacation in Syria to overthrow the government. Oh, good times had by all. And Bill Clinton making $11,000 a minute. A minute. 45-minute speech, $11,000 a minute, $500,000. It's good work if you can get it. We're going to have a great show. Stay with me.
Standing for truth in the four corners of America. Fighting for justice on the frontiers of the culture wars. And turning resistance into an art form. Randall Terry.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. What did you do over the weekend? I planted a garden. I did. I'm not kidding. I planted a garden and the world went on. It was beautiful. So let's talk about Bill Clinton. Let's talk about the Pope. Let's talk about the Muslim Brotherhood. Let's have fun and hopefully mobilize you for some action. But first, a quick word of genius. Listen to this.
Children, you must know is that all of the prophets you think of Muhammad, but before him Moses. Oh, Moses was talking about Muhammad. You must know the truth.
Welcome to today's program, friend. I hope that you had a good weekend. I really did plant a garden. Can I look at the tight camera here? My wife and I and our sons planted corn. We planted broccoli, Brussels sprouts, green beans, more corn, then even more corn, some cucumbers, some watermelons, pumpkins, and the producer of the show, Lane, his wife gave us a magic pumpkin, which is supposed to have pumpkins up to 600 pounds. We're going to try and build a chariot out of one of those pumpkins. But it was a blast to just spend time with the family, plant a garden. I hope that you get to do stuff like that. Let's turn to the news. All right, over the weekend, the Pope led Catholics around the world in the first ever, that's what the news is reporting, a worldwide Eucharistic adoration. Now, for those of you who don't know what that is, it's when Catholics will gather together and pray in front of the consecrated communion host. So here are the two prayers, because they're just beautiful. If you want to put them up on the screen, Lane, he asked for two different prayers. One was, for the church spread throughout the world and united today in the adoration of the Most Holy Eucharist as a sign of unity. May the Lord make her ever more obedient to hearing his word in order to stand before the world ever more beautiful, without stain or blemish, but holy and blameless. That through her faithful announcement, the word that saves may still resonate as the bearer of mercy and may increase love to give full meaning to pain and suffering, giving back joy and serenity. And here's the second one, which I thought was tremendous. For those around the world who still suffer slavery and who are victims of war, human trafficking, drug running, and slave labor. For the children and women who are suffering from every type of violence, may their silent scream for help be heard by a vigilant church so that, gazing upon the crucified Christ, she may not forget the many brothers and sisters who are left at the mercy of violence. Also for those who find themselves in economically precarious situations, above all for the unemployed, the elderly, migrants, the homeless, prisoners, and those who experience marginalization. That the church's prayer and its active nearness give them comfort and assistance in hope and strength and courage in defending human dignity. What a beautiful couple of prayers. I also listened with interest to some people that were saying that atheists, or that the Pope said that atheists could go to heaven. Now, I read the statements. I didn't see that. What I saw him say was that people who are atheists can meet with Christians at the point of good. He said, we'll meet you there. Some people took his comment to mean that we will meet you in heaven. And so after the fact, the church released a statement clarifying, no, the Pope was saying that everyone can do good. Whether you are a Christian, a pagan, an atheist, everyone can do good. Everyone can fight for human dignity. Now, the issue is, who defines good? Who defines human dignity? And the Christian position is very simple. God does. Our rights come from God. The definition of good and evil come from God. So if an atheist says, I'm going to fight for the good of a woman's right to choose an abortion, well, then the atheist is not fighting for good. But there is a group called Atheists for Life. And if Atheists for Life want to fight for the rights of the unborn, then that's a good thing. I think that one of the lessons from the parable of the Good Samaritan is that the Good Samaritan was not religiously sound or religiously orthodox. That's why it was such an insult. The priest and the Levite, who were religiously orthodox, they went by on the other side of the road and were prepared to let the man die. But the unorthodox one, the one who didn't have his theology straight, maybe he was an atheist Samaritan, we don't even know, but he saved the man's life. And so I read a lot of the Pope's statements that are in the controversy right now, and he clearly said that salvation comes through Jesus Christ, through his death. He did not say that atheists could work their way into heaven. I guess we need straw men. Is that what this is about? We have to have straw men to fight. All right, I've got to take a break. When we come back, the Muslim Brotherhood, once again, a fount of terrorism. I'll be right back.
There's a lot of rumors out there about Randall, but the one about him and Pocahontas is not true.
Every day in America, over 3,500 babies are torn apart by abortion. Shouldn't all babies, like this living, unborn child, have the right to life? Baby killing will only end when Americans see the truth of what abortion does to innocent children. You can help end this Holocaust by showing the truth of abortion in your area with a Face the Truth tour. Go to facethetruthamerica.com to set up a Face the Truth tour in your area. The babies and their mothers will be eternally grateful. In the 1980s, banks introduced designer checks. When my buddy George Johnson inquired at the bank, they had nothing for pro-lifers. So the Johnsons created beautiful pro-life bank checks showing babies with a strong pro-life message. You can speak out for life with every check you write, whether personal or business checks. Be a voice for babies with these pro-life checks. Go to prolifecheckguy.com to see more. That's prolifecheckguy.com. Hi friend, I'm Randall Terry. George Washington said, "Be courteous to all, but intimate with few, and let those few be well tried before you give them your confidence." Welcome back, friend. One other comment about the Pope's call to prayer and the Pope urging people to do good. Prayer is a great weapon for righteousness, for mercy, for pleading with the Lord to intervene. If you are a Christian, the chances are you have been discipled or catechized in a manner of prayer that is common to you. And when we see the way other people pray, whether it's shouting, praying quietly, praying in tongues, praying in front of the Blessed Sacrament and in Eucharistic adoration, whether it's rote prayers, in other words, prayers that you read and say over and over again, the Lord's Prayer, the Our Father. the issue is that we pray and that we have true faith that God will hear our prayers. And recognizing that sometimes God says yes, sometimes God says no, sometimes God says not yet or wait. All right, let's change the subject to something that needs prayer as well. And that is, his name is Yusuf al-Qaradawi. You may remember him during the uprising in Egypt that actually brought down the Egyptian government. He is perhaps the best known theologian or cleric of the Muslim Brotherhood. He called for the uprising in Egypt that brought down the government. He is now calling openly from his base in Qatar for a Sunni jihad against the Syrian government. Now, the Assad family are Shiites, and this man actually said that that Shiites, the sect that Assad is a part of, are, quote, worse infidels than Christians or Jews. Now, if you're familiar with Islamic theology, you'll know that that is really the biggest rebuke or criticism that he could possibly give to them, that they're worse than Christians and Jews. And now he's calling for a jihad against the Syrian government. What that means is that some of these Muslim terrorists that are looking for a place to lend their military support and prowess, that they are going to show up in Syria. Now, this is critical to us because I have to be careful how I say this. A known devil is better than an unknown devil, or a dictator who you can talk with, negotiate with, perhaps, may be in the long run better to deal with than people who are maniacally ideologically driven. You see, the Muslim Brotherhood, which came into existence in the 1920s, the Muslim Brotherhood is the current ideological fountain for almost all jihadi terrorism, Sunni terrorism. And they have two stated goals. One is the restoration of the caliphate, or to bring all Muslim countries under one leader. And two is the implementation of Sharia law in all of those countries. And then, by extension, their duty as devout Muslims is to spread Islam either through the preaching of the word or at the end of a sword. So, we're about time to take a break. Let me take a break. When we come back, I'll continue on with this and discuss with you how the Arab Spring might have produced a bouquet of weeds with thorns and thistles, maybe poison, hemlock, I don't know. Do you want to get America out of the hands of wicked and unjust men and women who are destroying the republic before our eyes, and put leadership back into the hands of righteous men and women so that we don't die as a nation? Well, you're talking about social revolution, and there are rules in social revolution. We can look at the victorious social revolutions of the past, such as the end of slavery, the end of child labor, women's voting rights, the end of segregation, and so much more, and learn from their victories. Look at their actions, their images, their rhetoric, their sacrifices, and their final fruit. We will send you this series that originally cost $129, 7 books for students, 1 teacher's guide, if you'll give a gift of any size and just pay for shipping and handling. Take advantage of it today.
Some people's idea of free speech is that they are free to say what they like, but if anyone says anything back, that is an outrage. Sir Winston Churchill.
Welcome back to the program, friend. The so-called Arab Spring, I think, was blown out of proportion by Western journalists and commentators who wanted to superimpose their own view of the world and their own view of revolution and freedom on jihadists, people involved with the Muslim Brotherhood, because we've got a soft spot in our heart for people who are fighting against a tyrannical government. Was the Mubarak government in Egypt tyrannical? Of course it was. Was the government in Libya tyrannical with Muammar Gaddafi? Of course it was. Is the government in Syria tyrannical? Of course it is. But these people who are involved with the Muslim Brotherhood are by definition guilty of tyranny as well, because they do not want freedom of religion, freedom of press, the freedom to criticize your government, the freedom to preach Christ unhampered in the street. They don't want that. And many of them don't even want the vote. Or if they do want the vote, it's just to vote in Sharia law and vote people into power who will implement Sharia law in the nation in discussion, and then work towards gathering Muslim nations together under one supreme leader. So our hearts justly should go out to people living under the heels of these tyrants. But our hearts should equally go out to the ones that are selling themselves into slavery, who want to implement slavery not only on themselves, they don't see it as slavery, but it is, and they want to force it on all other non-Muslims in their community. So you'll notice that they oftentimes don't say, we want to be free. It's not that they want to be free, it's that they want to get rid of a moderate Muslim dictator and replace him with a devout Muslim dictator who will implement Sharia law. All right? And both are dangerous. And in the end, probably the Sharia law Muslim Brotherhood version is going to be more dangerous because of what they'll do to the church in their area. There is an Al-Qaeda chief who released a message on the radio, Qasim al-Rimi, who basically said, look, all of you Americans, you're not safe. The poison letters that went to the White House, the bombing that took place in Boston, it proves that you're not safe, that your security is no longer under your control. And he said to Muslims everywhere, look, a bomb like was used in Boston is within your reach. So what we have to understand is that Salafi terrorism, which is a highfalutin way of talking about going back to the roots, the foundation, the path of early Islam, where the early Islamic leaders, starting with Muhammad himself, used the sword, used physical violence, threats of violence, etc., to bring people to Islam. Whether by fear or by free will, they were brought, and most of them came through fear and through the sword. What they're saying is, look, we can train people ideologically, and then you're just not safe. You're just not safe. All right, I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back, the Clintons. In the news again. Will Hillary be our next president? Will Bill Clinton be the first laddie? It's a Scottish joke. Not lady, but laddie. Aye, it's me, the first laddie. I don't like it when you do that weird accent, Randall. Stick with the real one, please. All right, I'll be right back. Do you want to have knowledge, wisdom, discernment? If so, you have to read good books on theology, history, books that look at the lives of great men and women. So to help you to become a more effective Christian, a better witness for truth, somebody who can engage in productive conversation that exhorts and edifies those that you speak with, we're going to do something crazy. We're offering you these 7 books for a gift of any size. You just pay for the shipping and handling, and then give whatever gift that you can, and we will send them to you. But just to make it a little bit more crazy, I will send you a second copy of my 3 books, autographed. You can give them as a gift to your pastor or to a family member and help extend truth and justice in the world. This is while supplies last.
Because he cleaves to me in love, I will deliver him. I will protect him because he knows my name. When he calls to me, I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble and will rescue him and honor him. With long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation.
Welcome back, friend. The Jewish National Fund paid upfront to former President Bill Clinton $500,000. $500,000. He's going to give a 45-minute speech. That's roughly $11,000 per minute. It's good work, man, if you can get it. It's just good work. There are a lot of people. Oh, by the way, he's going to go and speak in Israel to honor President Shimon Peres's 90th birthday. And this group does a lot of stuff. They try to raise money around the world to encourage people to plant a tree in Israel. If you've ever been to Israel, there's a lot of areas that could use trees. Bill Clinton makes last year he made $13 million in speeches. That's a lot of money. The issue really is, what's Hillary going to do? And is Bill Clinton going to be an asset to her or a liability? And is he going to be alive? He's got some degenerative heart thing going on and Parkinson's, if my memory is correct. I just read it in the press yesterday. So he is in frail health. And it'll be interesting to see if she is going to, in fact, run. If Benghazi is a millstone around her neck. But if we could set the Clintons aside for just a minute, I'll close the show with this. We are desperate in America right now for men and women of courage and who think in Christian terms. They think biblically. They think correctly in the 2,000-year scope of Christian duty in the political realm. A lot of times we're waiting for someone to come and do something. Maybe we should be the one doing something. So I'm going to ask some really simple questions which might annoy some people, they might encourage some. Namely this: are you registered to vote? Let's just start with that. Are you registered to vote? Do you know who your U.S. senators are? Do you know who your U.S. House of Representative member is? Have you ever contacted them? Have you ever called them about the budget, about Planned Parenthood being funded, about Obamacare? In other words, all that is necessary for evil to triumph is that good men do nothing. All that is necessary for evil to triumph is that good men do nothing. Because the bad guys are fighting for their wicked schemes. And we in the Christian community have been far too docile for far too long. My encouragement to you is, read good books on history. Take advantage of some of the things that we offer here on the show. What we do with our materials, and by the way, there's other great materials out there. Read books, watch television series that are geared towards making you a better man or a better woman, more effective in the public square. Get some heroes that are not in the sports world and that are not in the entertainment world, like Patrick Henry. Learn what he did. Learn the trials that he endured. Look at the life of George Washington. Look at the life of the founders of this republic. Study the lives of people who fought against slavery, or study the work of people who fought to end child labor. There are some great examples out there, men and women who can be our heroes and can help guide us in what battles lie in front of us. But the simple fact of the matter is that in my lifetime, since 1960, we have watched this country implode. And it's because the people that are in the judiciary, in the judges, and the people that are in our state governments, and the people that are in our federal government, it's because so many of them are self-consciously at war against Christian ethics. They're winning because we're not even on the field of battle. So let's equip ourselves and let's get in the fight, because then we can win.
you.